Hello, happy Independence Day. I'd like to make a video that kind of touches on the issue of independence. Freedom isn't free, and you get what you pay for. Freedom isn't free, and get what you pay for. You get what you pay for are two ways of saying the same thing, and they're both true. So, on this Independence Day, if you are wise enough to be grateful and for freedom in the United States and to be celebrating the birthday of that great country, it would be wise to also consider the possibility that your culture, the lack of independent music, is a red flag that you should heed, that you need to pay attention to. And I've touched on it on this rambling article I wrote today, Sex, Theocracy, and the Uncooling of America. It's a rambling piece. It's kind of all over the place a little bit. But essentially what I'm trying to say is the rainbow flag has kind of become the dominant aesthetic, and everybody's supposed, to the point that major corporations drench their logo in this tweaker aesthetic, this club kid designer drug loaded on too much ecstasy looking aesthetic, which is supposed to be indicative of liberation and freedom for people who haven't been legally oppressed in over 50 years. I don't want to get on a tangent. That's all in the article. There are lots. Their article could be 4 times as long, but you know. Anyway, so music and art are the canary in the coal mine, and if you want to celebrate independence and freedom, it would be wise for you to think that you're going to win the culture war with the warrior class. I mean, there's no art, there's no music, there's no culture up there. It's all, there hasn't been a household name, an artist with household name independence in the English language since Amy Winehouse, who was arguably an anomaly at the time and who has been dead for 10 years. Lila Downs in Spanish, she actually has some Illuminati symbols in some of her videos, so she's obviously controlled. She kind of pushes the gay thing. Down here, they don't... it's not as, it's newer of an issue, so you know I've been as an American, they've been shoving that in my face since I was in high school, and the hand has been spectacularly overplayed. And I'm not going to say anything about whether or not I hate or disrespect gay people. And if you need to hear that, then you need to take about 10 years off, go live in a car under a tree in the woods somewhere, and get off it already, because it's ridiculous. But anyway, there's really not much to say. You get what you pay for. If you're celebrating independence, but you can have an election that is stolen, you can have a bunch of people who think they're on the side of justice when they are making racist claims against broad swaths of people, but they think that they're just, and these are the people. If these people, so it's not, it's at least to be liberal, it's not liberal anymore. They have abandoned all pretense of supporting the arts. All right, they are not a scene anymore. It used to be called a scene. Now it's a community, and it's graduated from community to theocracy. All right, this is a golden opportunity on Independence Day to support your local. I don't want to be snide and say content creators, because that's a cheap postmodern word. You need to realize that your cops and they're like the last line of defense. You've watched the culture get overthrown by a bunch of socialists, essentially, who don't obviously take care of the artists. It's like, well, we have everything for free, and the music scene in America is a huge advertisement for what's coming for all y'all, and there isn't any support for music up there. They don't support the arts. The United States, they don't. I've said it before. I'll probably say it for the rest of my life. Surely it's not the only country on earth, but I think it's. I love America. All right. I say these things with a sadness. You know. It's certainly there's probably hundreds of societies on earth that are alive today that you could say the same thing about. Never mind history. Artlessness is a virtue in the U.S. It's not just a trait; it's a virtue. If you have no art in your heart, it's like, I'm a good person. So now you actually are down to the actual warrior class being what's left between you and the socialists, because they destroyed your artists, but they are not supporting their artists. So you have an opportunity. You're not going to win the war, and I'm talking about the culture war with Kanye West and Ted Nugent. Okay. And the only reason I bring up Ted Nugent is because every time somebody like Alex Jones, it hasn't been for a while. I don't really follow a lot of that stuff anymore anyway. And Alex Jones peaked 10 years ago. But when they want to talk to a musician who's into liberty, they call Ted Nugent. That's all they can think of to talk to. And they call him more than once. He's like a regular guest. I don't know if I think Crowder interviewed him recently-ish. It's like, Crowder's my age. I mean, we were kids when Ted Nugent was peaked, and it's like, he's got Cat Scratch Fever is his great song. I mean, you can live without it. Even if you think, nobody thinks they can't live without that. There's nothing going on. Anyway, hip-hop, too. I'm rambling now. I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to try to cut it short. The Beatles were done in less than 10 years. Hair metal and or heavy metal, it was at like the forefront of the cultural in the 80s. It was kind of one of the main big music, people like Motley Crue, were big in the hair metal days and stuff. That lasted less than 10 years. Grunge lasted less than 10 years. Kurt Cobain's career only lasted like 3 years. I'm not a fan. The guy was obviously talented. Hip-hop now, the Chronic is going on is going to be 30, I think it's 29 years old, that album. It's 29 years of people who think that dropping beats is cutting edge. Okay? There are so many vacant spaces on this ship of culture. Your artists, you actually kicked them out. Like, I think you don't support them. And so if you're going to say Happy Independence Day, but you are working for, but you take your music for free, or don't take it at all, which I should talk to the kids, because the people my age, nobody in their 40s buys music anyway. That's been true since the beginning of recorded music. You need to start supporting your artists, or you're not going to have any kind of a culture. It's dying before your very eyes. It's been moribund. It's been dead. Now you've got Satan's shoes, and Britney Spears is now based. God bless her. All right, I'm all behind her losing her conservatorship. That's probably an MK Ultra situation. Definitely manipulated. I pity her. I'm all for. I stand in solidarity with her for whatever it's worth. But Britney Spears, okay? You need more than that. Miles Davis was a genius. He changed his music. He changed music. He evolved his sound over the course of like 60 years, 50 years at least, something like that. And it was never the same, but it always sounded like Miles Davis. Kanye West is a one-hit wonder with the 15-year career. There is nothing that he has ever done that sounds like Kanye West. It all sounds like something that is being done. It's like when the album is released or the song is dropped. Okay, let's lose some of these ancient okay, let's move forward. Let's move along. Let's lose the street talk. Okay, keeping it real and all that. Give me a break. Okay, it doesn't have. It's not have to be a black thing. You can go the Bukowski route. And be in hard streets and drinking, and it's like, okay, it's ridiculous. I'm in my late 40s. I've been through it, so that's probably a lot of it. You don't need to go there. It's a total waste of time if you're lucky. But hip hop has been a mainstream art form for 30 years. That's not acceptable. That's ridiculous. Miles Davis, I think, who died in 1991, was in fact experimenting with early hip-hop on his last album, or I don't know if his last album, but he has hundreds of albums, actually, which is unbelievable. doo-bop song or something like that. Not my favorite Miles Davis by any stretch of the imagination, but he was pushing the envelope. Kanye West sounds like every time he puts out with something. I mean, I came out with an opera a few years ago, and I actually said, I wonder how many people are going to be wearing sweatpants. And what do you know? You can't watch any of this stuff. If you can last for 3 minutes, you've got guts and you got a mind of pure iron and titanium blood, because it's insanely impossible to listen to. But I'm like, it sounded like Karina Burano in sweatpants. It's like derivative on its face, and of course it is. The guy is a one-hit wonder. God bless him. But man, the guy should have been forgotten 15 years ago. There should be videos now going, what happened to Kanye West? Remember that Jesus Walk song from '05? What happened to that guy? He's still like a cultural forefront. You need to move forward. You need to drop the pretense of being, you need to support your independent artists on Independence Day. You need to realize that independence is not cheap, and independent arts are not cheap. A thriving culture is not cheap. Freedom is not free. Music is not free. God bless you. Happy Independence Day. Enjoy your fireworks. Please do. And enjoy the cookout. God bless you all. Thanks for listening.